I'm a US accountant, and I see a lot of people using Excel incorrectly, inefficiently, or not at all when it would really help them. So I want to help you get comfortable using Excel, just some really, really basic how to get started, what to do and what not to do. And then in the next video, I will discuss some basic, very helpful formulas. But in this, we're just going to talk about some basic how to get started and do's and don'ts. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up our quick access toolbar. Okay. If you're in an older version of Excel, you're going to find it around up here. And then with the newest update, it's right around here as your quick access toolbar. So if you scroll around, you should come to a symbol similar to this, which is Customize Quick Access Toolbar. If you can't find it, Google Quick Access Toolbar, Customize Quick Access Toolbar, and the version of Excel that you were using. One of my top tips for Excel is that you don't need to memorize how to do everything. You just need to know what Excel can do. That's the first step. You need to know what it can do, assuming you input things in a way that it's useful. And number two, the next best thing to do is learn what different functions are called. Once you know what it can do and what Excel calls those functions, you can look up whatever you need. There's lots of videos and lots of tutorials and lots of websites that show you how to do whatever you want to do. But I'm going to just show you the real basics here of how to get set up and started. So for Quick Access Toolbar, I like to have spelling. I like to try to remind myself to check my spelling. I like the print preview button. And if you go into more commands, go away from popular commands and go into all commands. Then click in this window and then you can start typing. For example, if you type S, it'll take you to the S's. And then I would recommend you find strike through, freeze panes, not the one with the little arrow next to it, and the clear all filters. So pause the video right now and find those. They're very helpful, and I'm going to show you how to use them. Okay, so now you have these up here. So what I'm looking at right here is an example of a spreadsheet that I set up myself. It has a lot of what we call data validation already in it, also known as foolproofing. So what I've already done is I've set up this column so that it basically only accepts dates. I set up this column so it only accepts numbers. But I'm going to show you how to and not to input different types of things. So if you want to get this particular, not this filled in spreadsheet, but my blank self-employment organizer, I also have a rental income and expense organizer, which is very simple. It's very similar. You can go to my website. It's hubertaxcpa.com/organizers. You can't find this by going through the menu. It's like a secret page only. I made these organizers for my clients. If you've gotten this far in the video, you may have them for free as well. So if you have a small business, go ahead and click self-employment organizer. If you have a rental property or multiple rental properties, click one of these. If you don't, pick anything you want, or just open a plain Excel spreadsheet or even Google Sheets and play around. And so I'm just going to show you real quick how this particular spreadsheet is set up. I have two tabs. These down here are called tabs. Anytime that you open a spreadsheet, you want to see if there's multiple tabs so that you know that there are different things you need to look at. You can move tabs around, you can move them between sheets. So this is the tab where I've made it so that everything gets added together. And there's also some fields for additional input here. This is designed for US citizens who would be filing a US tax return with a Schedule C. And then this is all the input. And I've created this spreadsheet so that as long as you put in a date, an amount, a currency, and choose a category, it will add up it'll convert everything to dollars as needed, and it'll add it up in the appropriate categories. The dates are important if you want to use daily exchange rates, which I intend to add like at the end of each year. So if you were my client, for example, you could just send me this And this would give you an estimate, and then I could very quickly set up a VLOOKUP, which I can show you in another video if you'd like, and to get the currency, the exchange rates per year. Now, how is this happening? Well, look at the top of the screen, and if you know your alphabet, you know that H doesn't come after E. And you also see that it's like a double line right up there. That's because there's hidden cells. And so I've hidden columns in between E and H, which you can't see, which are making a bunch of calculations behind the scenes. So anytime that you've done a bunch of calculations or something you just don't want to show all the time, you can right click the column and you can do hide, or you can highlight the whole section and you can click unhide, and that'll open them all up. And then you can see how it's pulling exchange rates and calculating exchange rates. I just did Control Z to undo that. So in general, you don't need to do very much on this page except fill in the highlighted things. This page is what you would be filling in throughout the year. So let's talk about filling in dates. It's really important that you fill in dates in a format that your version of Excel or whatever spreadsheet you're using recognizes as a date. And it must recognize that date the same way that you recognize that date. For example, I'm American, I do US taxes, so I read this date as April 3rd. If you're reading this date as March 4th, the 4th of March, then you need to make sure that your Excel version agrees with you. So if it doesn't, how would you know? So first of all, if I change this format, I can highlight the whole column. I can go to home and I can change the format to long date. Okay, now it looks like, oh no, what did I do? What did I mess up? You didn't mess up anything. When you see a bunch of pound signs or hashtags, whatever you want to call them, that just means that the input in the cell is too big, too long for the width of this column. And it's very easy to remedy. All you have to do is double click right in between the columns. Double click and then it opens it all up. You can open it up more if you want to, but just double clicking will open it up enough. So anytime you see a bunch of pound signs, even on a single number, just double click and it'll open right up. So now, just the very fact that it clearly sees all of these as dates, I know that it's in an acceptable date format. Once you get to the 13th of the month, if it's recognized as a date, you must be doing something okay. Otherwise, it wouldn't recognize it because there is no 13th month. But if it's not working for you, you have two options. One, enter the dates the way that your Excel expects it. That's one option. Or number two is change the settings. So very important, the dates must be entered in a way that Excel recognizes as a date. If it's giving you errors, you can input it with dashes in between, you can input it with slashes in between. Don't think it recognizes it as dots. We can try it. Let's try 8.2. No, it doesn't recognize that as a date. Now, why is it giving me this error? It's giving me this error because I have already sort of foolproofed this spreadsheet. I've set up this spreadsheet so that it doesn't let you input anything here that's not a date. It doesn't let you input anything here that's not an amount. So if we want to play with putting things in wrong, we need to go over to a blank cell over here, and then we can see the difference. Let's try 2/2/2002, and let's try 2.2.2002. And let's try 13/2/2002. So now only one of these is a date. And so how do we know? We can change the format to long date. And now it only changed one of them to an actual date. The other ones, it's just recognizing as text. It doesn't recognize that you may have meant to say the 13th of February. It just says, okay, there is no 13th month. This must not be a date. This must just mean she means, 13 or 2 or 2002, something like that. So you have to put things in the way that your Excel will recognize, but it does recognize a lot of different formats. You could do 2/Feb/2002, and it'll recognize it all once you've formatted the date. What you can't do is spell things wrong. So, if you try to spell September and you spell it wrong, and it's not going to correct it. Like Google just knows what you meant. Now, you might not realize why that's important right now, but if we actually wanted to look up exchange rates or sort things by date or anything like that, it is important. Excel reads these dates. It converts them to a number value. You can actually do a lot of different functions with dates. You can calculate how many days are between one day and another day. The way that Excel looks at dates is it counts how many days from January 1st of 1900. So January 1st, 1900 is number 1. January 2nd, 1900 is number 2. And by the time we're in 2000, we're into the 44,000s. So if we want to see this, we can switch this format to number, and we're going to see those numbers. Okay, this is how Excel is storing the numbers. So if you accidentally switch it to numbers, it's very simple to switch back. You didn't do anything, irreversible. You highlight the column and you change the format to whatever you want. If you want more formats, the easiest way I find to do it is right click, go to format cells, and pick the format you want. So in this case, we want dates, and we can pick from a number of date formats, and we can even customize our own. I'm going to use this one. I like this format. It's short enough, but it also is very clear that it's very clear what month we're dealing with. So I find this very convenient because I work both with American and European stuff. So that is dates. I'll show more examples of what you can do with dates later, but the point of this is how to make sure to input them as actual dates. Now let's talk about numbers. It is very important to input only digits in fields where you're putting numbers. Because even right now, if you're really just using it to record stuff, you might think it's fine to start, putting in 362 US dollars, and then, another one is $500, and then the next one is 698 euro. But if I go to add these up, I can't, because Excel doesn't realize that these are numbers, because there are also spaces and words in it. So let's say you've already done that. What can you do? It's very easy to, I'm just going to say, for example, let's say that it's all dollars. There's more ways you can do it if you have mixed formulas, but let's just say we just want to get rid of all the US dollars at once. So if I do Control F, I can easily find whatever I'm trying to get rid of, but I can also ask Excel to automatically replace everything. So if I do space USD, and I replace it with nothing at all, and I do replace all, it's just going to delete all of those. And then as soon as they turn into numbers, now what's happened here is that I already had formatted this column as in a date column. So it just automatically looks at my numbers and makes dates. And you can say, oh no, what happened? But it's very simple. You just go back and you can either do general or you can do number. Number doesn't automatically mean it has 2 decimal points. You can change that as well. Okay, but this is a quick way to automatically take out the USD. And so now that they're actually numbers, now I can do a number of things with them. I can, we're going to talk about formulas in the next video, but let's just say I just want to see, okay, what are like all of these numbers added up together? And now I look at the bottom and it's 160. So I know that I paid between these dates, just this chunk of my spreadsheet, I paid $160 for yoga workshops online. I know that 8 of these are highlighted and the average is 20. So this is all automatic. I didn't set this up. If you have Excel installed, this is probably going to be there automatically. You can also click here and it copies this number to the clipboard. So if I need to, let's say I need to email somebody that, oh, the total of this was, this, I can just copy this and I can start typing, and I can paste that number wherever I need it. So you couldn't do that if you had writing or notes or anything in that field. So only digits in the number field. Now let's talk about formatting this column. If I highlight this, I can make it all dollars. Now I don't need that because they're not all dollars, but this would be an acceptable way to show dollars because it's in the formatting. This number sign is not typed in. So you can see this, all that's typed in is 16.07. The dollar sign is part of the formatting. So it doesn't actually, you can still add it all up. Okay. I can add the comma between the thousands, and I can use these to have to add, like, let's say that I want 4 digits after the decimal place. Usually in my field, we take off the decimal places. We're dealing with big numbers and we want them to be rounded. So that cleans things up, okay? Now, in this particular spreadsheet, it only works if you have a date, a currency, and a category. Once you have a date, a currency, and a category, then it will put everything here. Let's talk about the date some more and some other things we can do without even talking about formulas. So one of my favorite things to do is highlight the title, the column headings, and click over here and click filter. We haven't filtered anything. All we've done is add the option to filter and sort to each column. Okay, so now let's say I want to see only people who paid me in shekels, NIS. So I can unclick select all, I can click NIS, and now I see only the ones with NIS. Now, what if I want to see them all again? What do I do? And that is why we added clear here. I clear and I click clear all the filters. Let's say I only want to see payments that I made for, let's see, yoga workshop online. So I click that, and now I see all the payments I made to yoga workshop online. What else? You can click more than one if you want to know, what did I do in, what did I pay for these 3 items? And then I have them all. And now I want to go back, I click clear. Let's say here, I want to make sure that I'm not looking at any dates that are in 2020. I can unclick 2021. And now I see only 2020. So, or let's say I want to see only 2019, so I can delete that. So now I can click on these 3. I'm holding down the control key while I'm clicking each of these 3 lines. You can click whatever, they don't have to be in order if you use a control key. And I'm just doing delete row, and now they're gone. And now it looks like I have nothing, but I just don't have anything filtered. So I do clear. I can, let's say I want to put the dates in order. So I can do oldest to newest. And then it's going to go March, April, May, all in order. So these are a bunch of things that you can do once you've filtered. The next thing I like to do is freeze panes. So let's say let's say pretend for a second that we have a really long spreadsheet. We have all different columns, and we want to keep we want to keep being able to see the dates. So I want to be able to scroll all the way to the side, but still see that it's the 17th of June and still see the headings column. So I click the first cell that is below the headings column, or to the right of the column I want. So below the headings line, row, these are called rows, or to the right of the column I want to freeze, or both, and I click freeze panes. And now when I scroll over, the dates stay there, and when I scroll down, the headings stay at the top. If I want to undo that, I click undo freeze panes. If I just want to freeze the top line, I do freeze panes there. And now I can scroll up and down. So welcome to Excel. Try these things out. I will say I'm also a big fan of Google Sheets. I'm super comfortable in Excel, and I'm at my computer at least 8 hours a day. But if you need to be keeping track of things when you're on the go and you don't have the whole Excel suite on your phone and your computer, Google Sheets can be a great way to do that, because you can log into Google Sheets through your regular Gmail account, You can install it on your phone, and then you can access the same sheet on whatever device you're on everywhere. And it's, once you have it, once it's a recently used sheet, it's going to be at the top of your, most recently used sheets all the time. So if it's something you're accessing a lot, like adding, work that you've done, lists of whatever you want, it'll be available all the time. And then you don't have to worry if, if a computer crashes or something happens, it's going to stay saved in the cloud. So if you're not on the same device most of the day, then Google Sheets is a great option. If you're very comfortable in Excel and you're using the suite, then putting the Microsoft suite on your phone or other devices can definitely be worthwhile. And you can also make everything accessible through OneDrive or SharePoint. Microsoft also has their own options.